Hello darlings, welcome back. If you are anything like me, the hustle bustle of life, family, work, home, pets, all the things, sort of starts to edge out things you used to do, things you used to like, things that were creative. I feel like this happens for most folks, maybe in your 40s, maybe a little earlier, maybe a little after, but the sort of weight of responsibilities and just that to-do list, it's overwhelming and it takes over and it squeezes out the little things, the things that we thought were little, right? Like maybe it is painting, drawing, singing, knitting, weaving, whatever it may be. It gets squeezed out. We don't have time for it. We don't prioritize time for it. So somewhere along the way, it becomes a luxury and not a given, not something that we incorporate all of the time. So I've been on this last year a journey of rediscovering creativity, of absolutely intentionally setting aside time for it. But life keeps lifing, and sometimes the setting aside time for it was stressing me out, which sounds crazy because setting aside time to do a little watercoloring, come on. That shouldn't be stressing me out, but it does because of that never-ending to-do list, because of the family, because of the home, because of all of the hustle and bustle and all of the things that I should be doing, right? So this week, I tried something different. Instead of really intentionally looking at my calendar and trying to carve out, that hour to really sit down and focus and engage in creativity, I tried to see where it could fit into my life sort of organically, naturally, just as I was living it, so that I wasn't then stressing about cramming it in there. So I didn't set aside tons of time to focus on it. I let it show up where and when it needed to. And counterintuitively, this week turned out to be one of the most creative I've had in a while. There was thrifting and making and doing and all of the things that I've been wanting to incorporate and focus on, but without that huge time commitment and without that idea that I had to set aside that chunk of time, I was able to engage in more creativity than I have in a while. I somehow got way more creativity in. I don't know how, but it was nice. I really enjoyed it. I don't know about you, but I love when things come with less friction. So I'm hoping that by sharing not only my creative journey, but the different ways I'm trying to make it work, that inspires you to maybe just let it happen. Maybe you can't focus on it, so maybe you just let it ease its way into your life. It was an unexpected surprise, a happy surprise on this my rediscovering creativity journey. So yeah, I really do hope I can inspire some of you out there to just give it a try. I'd love if you followed along while I continue on this journey. So go ahead and hit subscribe so you can hang out and let's go get creative, yeah? I have a family member that is unfortunately in the hospital, and she said she was missing her pets. So I decided to make her one she could have there, which means our first stop this week was Scrap, my creative reuse store, for some fabric and notions and hopefully a pattern to make a stuffed cat. This was the pattern I found, which turned out to be an absolute disaster. Like the directions were just wrong, but I was able to use the photo for an idea and figure it out. I also found this fabric. A wonderful woman who worked at the store was putting all the fabric away, and she saw me looking, and she came over and asked if this would be any use, and it was absolutely perfect. I also found this vintage sewing tackle box situation. It's kind of hard to open, which is why there's instructions taped on the side. But it is so cool. It needs a good clean, but I absolutely cannot wait to use it. next day was the weekend, and it was the first Sunday of the month, which meant that the really large, fantastic Alameda Flea Market was going on, and it was such a beautiful sunny day. So my wife and I decided to get out of the house and go. We didn't get up at the crack of dawn to go grab a deal. We just decided to treat it as a day out in the sunshine and poke around. Normally when I go to a flea market, I tend to be looking for something kind of specific. But since we weren't, I had such a different type of time. It was so inspiring. I found so many projects and upcycles and styling things that I wanted to do. I saw some trends that were super cute, like so many booths were selling Holly Hobby upcycle sweatshirts alongside, like $500 gunny sack dresses, which totally makes sense if you think about it. But I ended up busting out my notes app on my phone and taking note after note of design things for the house I wanted to sew, things I wanted to make, and it was just such a great day. We even found some buttons for my cat project. Both the wife and I left with a bag full of treasures, and I found some vintage costume jewelry that is really fantastic, and I love that we just had such a great day, and it was nice and relaxing and creatively restorative. When we got home, I still had a bunch of time left in the day, so I jumped right on into finally getting this cat together. So the next day I was able to get some more sewing in. Like I said, the pattern was absolutely a disaster, so I really did just have to figure this out. And I was really hoping I could do it because, like I said, this is for someone I care about and it means something and it's meant to help comfort her a little bit. So I really kind of put my all into it. And I was able to figure it out. Yes, there are some messy seams, and yes, I am absolutely doing it, I'm sure, wrong, but it came out really well and I am really happy with it, and I really enjoyed the process and I enjoyed sewing in these moments that I had. Even though I had to ditch the pattern and figure it out myself, I am going to brag a little bit here because look at how cute this little guy came out. I am so proud of it. Look at that matchup on the fabric. I am so proud of myself, and I just really hope she loves it. I also had a few spare moments to make some holiday bunting for my mom. So this was the day to hand off my gift since I couldn't actually go to the hospital, but I wanted to make sure though that the gift did get there, and I wanted to treat my mom to a day out because, as often happens with caregivers, she's got some care fatigue and I wanted to treat her. So we decided to go thrifting and spend the day walking around and having a slow lunch and getting a sweet treat and letting ourselves, touch nice fabrics and dig through stacks of books and just have a nice day. We both ended up mainly shopping for other people. It is only October, but we have lots of birthdays and holidays, and the holiday season is coming up. So we both did end up mostly shopping for gifts for other people, but for both of us, that's fun. We both really enjoyed giving gifts. So it was such a lovely day and a nice way to spend time with someone who just needed a little bit of an escape. And again, I picked up treasures for other people and one or two for myself. It took every fiber of my being to not take this entire set home with me. For our sweet treat, we found this very Instagrammable ice cream parlor. It was very cute. I had the most fantastic affogato with Turkish coffee ice cream. It was so good. We loved just sitting. We were the only ones here because it was sort of a weird time of day, and it was just so nice and relaxing. So I am so glad that I just let creativity fit into my life this week, seriously, sometimes just setting aside that time or trying to set aside that time really is stressful. Like if I, this week, had tried to find an entire day to sit down in front of a canvas and be quote unquote creative, it would have had the opposite effect. It would not have calmed me. It would not have inspired me. I think sometimes you really just need to give creativity a little space, a little permission, a little love. So now on to everyone's favorite part. What did I get at the flea market and at all the thrift stores? Well, number one, I got this dress. It is homemade. It is, I don't know if it's knit. I don't know if it's crochet, but I love it. It is so cozy. It is so warm. It's so perfect for this time of year here. It's just so autumnal. And I love it. And all it needed was a little slip under it, easily done in this household. So this dress for a whole $5, one of my favorite things. I also picked up, to go with it, these earrings. Aren't they adorable? And this little pendant that is made from English porcelain. And I love it so much. I just think it is so darling. Can't wait to put that on a cord and wear it. I love it. My other favorite item, and maybe you're sensing a color theme here, at one of the thrift stores, I found this painting. I think it's lovely. It's a watercolor. The color scheme goes very much with my living room, but also I figured if my wife hated it, the frame itself was absolutely worth the thrift store price. I really do love it. I think it's really pretty. It's signed by the artist. The information is on the back. It is from 1983. And it's just titled Flower. I love it. I think it's so pretty. Looks like Danny Ambing, maybe? I don't know. It's lovely. I think it's beautiful. I want to put it up in my living room, so I think that's what's going to happen. But yeah, this week was a roaring success because not only did I get so much creativity, and that cat was sent off to its, to do its duty as a comfort animal. I'm so glad that it got there and that it can provide even a little bit of comfort. I enjoyed sewing it because it had a purpose, but I also just fit in the sewing when I had the bits and pieces of time. I loved going to the different thrift stores and the flea market and treating it more as an inspiration gathering rather than a stuff gathering, although I got some great goodies. It was just such a different, for me, week, and it was wonderful. Our helper came to say hi. So I'd love to know, how do you engage in creativity? Do you set aside like a whole day, hour, week, month for it? Or do you let it just sort of happen as it happens? I'd really love to know. Also, I'd love if you stuck around. Subscribe, hang out, leave me a comment, let me know. There's a few new of you here, which is great to see. So welcome. Until I see you next week, stay creative, stay calm, stay curious, and I'll see you then. Bye.